So, to make a long story short, we basically just got very lucky with this one. When it comes to D.I.D, most people spend about, 5 to 9 years in the medical system getting therapy and everything before they receive a proper diagnosis. Now, with us, I'm not sure if that's the case really, like what you would count as therapy and such. So I'm gonna kind of just ramble and try to remember exactly what the pathway was with this. So this will definitely be more of a vlog type thing. About in sixth grade, when we were about, I don't know, 10, 11, about 11, our parents got divorced and they like legally make you go through therapy to make sure you're okay and everything. And that's not exactly the best thing for the children involved because some of those therapists really are not there for the wellness of the child, and they're kind of just there to find ammunition and fuel the battle against the parents, which is about what we dealt with. So our first therapist was basically Gossip Girl, and she was kind of useless, and we really didn't get through too much with her. It was mostly talking about everyday things, how we were feeling with our parents, stuff like that. But with the second therapist, it was that was a better experience, and we started talking about our voices in the head and the different sides of who we were at the time. But just as we were starting to get into that, our dad became unemployed. The job market was really sketchy back then. That was when we were having that small Great Depression, the modern day recession thing. That was pretty bad, and our dad was all like, "Oh, you don't need therapy anyway, you're fine, so we'll just take you out of that, you'll be okay." And we were all like, "Okay, this is fine." We were about 14 at that time, and that was when we were really seeing the different alters and different personalities start to emerge. And we were like, "Okay, we can handle this on our own, I guess. That's fine. This is fine. This is fine." And then it wasn't until college that we sought out therapy again. So this is why we say that we weren't really in the medical system for too long before receiving a diagnosis, because of our own willpower. We were only in therapy for about 6-ish months before getting a proper diagnosis, because we don't really count those first two therapists because they're basically trash and they did not do anything to help us at the time or anything to really delve into what was going on in our brain. So we just count those as like they don't count. So the one that actually gave us a diagnosis was through our college. He's one of those ones that just works in the health and wellness center, which is basically therapy plus doctors just chucked in an office. And it's not the most efficient thing, but the therapists they hire aren't too bad. I don't have any complaints about my current one, but the previous one is one who gave us this diagnosis. We originally sought him out when we were a freshman, and I can't remember why we sought him out. I think we were just starting to figure out more alter things, more system stuff, more trauma, possibly, though that was more sophomore year, and just trying to make it work with our daily life, with what we were trying to pull off at the time. The guy that we were dating at the time was all like, "Oh, you have 48 alters, that's a lot, so you might want to try to decrease those numbers." So we thought that through therapy we would find more inner peace, maybe try to integrate, I think, but that was not the path we were destined for at all. And luckily that guy ended up dumping us, thank God, because if we were stuck with that guy, that would not be fun. That would be so chaotic, especially considering that we're at, 118 now? Which is wild in comparison to him thinking that 48 alters was a lot. It's not in comparison to us now. Wow, we've grown. But we continued on seeing this newer therapist into about, God, I think it was 3 years. And it was around the 6 month mark that I think it was Dare who decided to be all like, "Hey, how about a diagnosis?" Like, he actually asked him straight out, like, "Hey, we've been going through therapy a lot and everything. Having a diagnosis would make me feel a lot better about myself. You know, more valid, I suppose, because it just seemed so up in the air at the time." And the therapist was like, "Okay, I could write something up and see how that works out." And so he did. It took him like 3 weeks to write up this little diagnosis sheet, which probably takes like 5 minutes to fill out. And he did a proper assessment beforehand, and that was nice, but he was definitely new. He was a new therapist, had like recently gotten his degree and everything, and he was filming some of our sessions for like a review by an instructor of his, though we didn't really know what that was about. We just thought we were extra cool and that he wanted to film it because we were such a wild case in comparison to what he was dealing with. Because on campus here, it's usually run-of-the-mill stuff: anxiety before exams, roommate conflicts, some depression, possible substance usage. But with us, we were a case he was not prepared for, which was kind of funny. And luckily he gave us a diagnosis, and that was pretty quick, pretty painless. It only took a few months. We started seeing him in the December of 2015, got the diagnosis in May 2016, so that was good. He definitely had the proper time to assess us and everything, so it wasn't rushed. So that was that. When we had the paper and everything, though we misplaced it, which sucks. That's something we're pretty bad with, is misplacing things, but they usually turn up sooner or later, except for this one, which sucks. Although I'm sure we'll find it sooner or later, and our thing is we just have to go through all the papers from freshman year, and I don't feel like doing that anytime soon. Going through school papers is the worst thing ever. So we continued on with seeing this therapist until our junior year, and then we kind of decided to stop seeing him. He was too, like, humanistic. We required more of a kind of psychoanalytic kind of approach, but he was definitely more humanistic. At one point, he was all like, hey, why don't you just focus more on the good things happening in your life instead of all the bad things? And that was before Parsifal uncovered all the trauma, so imagine if we'd actually tried that. That would have been so bad. So Nova and Liberty were all like, don't go back. We're drawing the line here. You may not go back to this therapist. He is just not right for us. And then everyone was like, fine, I was seeing it that way anyway, so that just saves me the trouble. So we didn't go back to the counseling department until last fall. The therapist we had been seeing is now gone, away from the school, which is pretty frickin' convenient if you ask me. And the one that we have now is much better. She has a background in dealing with trauma, smoking cessation, and many other things that are great for us. So right now, we're in a good spot with therapy, and she's being very good, even offering to write notes for things like a note to the optometrist to possibly get hollows and proper glasses. Poor child. And any other things that we need. She's even giving us referrals to counseling programs during the summer, so we don't have to go without anything, and we might be able to get some pretty good therapy done over the summer. We'll let you know everything that's going on so you can stay in the loop, what we're actually doing during the summer, which is kind of up in the air at this point, but you do what you can. So that is how we got our D.I.D diagnosis. We basically just asked the guy and he gave it to us, which seems so much easier than all the things people have gone through, all the misdiagnoses and such. Thick Boy is trying to get into a bag of yarn right now. He's trying really hard, and it's really cute. And he got a ball. Stop it. Stop it. You can't carry that around. Son, no. Evil. This is for a commission. Shame upon you. Shame upon you, boy. And if you'd like to, check out all the links below. There's plenty of stuff. If we've got the spoons, I'm going to try to post some new things on Etsy. We discovered some great stuff to do with some yarn I thought we couldn't work with, so I'm pretty happy about that. Also, we discovered how to make, check this out, mini System Pride flags. They are knitted, and we can make them in a few different sizes, and we can also do something like this, where it's like all the colors from the D.I.D awareness ribbon, and it's kind of a flag. You know, I don't think we have a proper flag for D.I.D. I mean, if you know what it is, please post a link so I can see it and knit things that look like it, because that would be so much fun. But so far, that's what we've made, and we're going to try to make a whole bunch, and so we can post them as well. And you saw that we reached 3,000 subscribers. I'm so happy about that, and we appreciate you all so much. And the only question I have is, what would you like us to do for our 3K live stream? Post your ideas down below. We'll read every one of them, and we'll check out and see what everyone wants us to do. We could have guests, we could have the Goblin, Kaolani or the Amplexus system, and we could all just hang out, or you could do a themed live stream, anything. It'd be great. So that is all I have for today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you all in the next video. Oh, now you look innocent. Look at you. His face was right in that indent there. He was cramming his face in there a second ago, and now he's looking all innocent, like, oh no, I wasn't trying to get into this. I've got to put on my pretty face for the camera. I'm such a good boy. Oh, there he goes. There he goes. That's what he was doing. Son, why? Son, why?